Good evening. Time being 6:30, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and Métis people. The next item is Fire Prevention Week proclamation. Whereas the Township of Red Rock is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting the town, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the location where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas home fires result in an average of 24,000 fires, 3,100 injuries, and 377 deaths each year in Canada. And whereas smoke alarms significantly reduce the risk of dying in home fires, and whereas one-third of fatal fires in Canada do not have working smoke alarms, and whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department is dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the Township of Red Rock residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, smoke alarms, make them work for you, effectively serves to remind us smoke alarms can make a life-saving difference in a home fire. Therefore, I, Darkis Robinson, Mayor, do hereby proclaim October 6th to the 12th, 2024 as Fire Prevention Week. And I urge all the people of Red Rock to check their smoke alarms, ensure they are installed properly, and meet the needs of your family during Fire Prevention Week 2024. And to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department and all fire departments across Ontario. Okay, administration advises that there are no additions to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councilor Muir, Councilor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder for to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councilor Brand, Councilor No. All in favor? Motion's carried. Time being 6:33, we'll go into closed session. Okay, rising from closed session, council approved the minutes of the September 16th council meeting. Council also discussed acquisition and disposition of lands. We did not complete closed session, so we will be going back in at the end of the meeting. Okay, tonight we have Mike from Aqua here to present the second quarterly report for the Red Rock Water and Wastewater Treatment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike DeHauja, the Senior Operations Manager for the Ontario Clean Water Agency. This is the second quarterly report for Red Rock. From the water treatment plant side, water treatment flows for the system in April were 3,516. May was 7,506. June was 7,443. With a total of year-to-date 40,477. The maximum flow rate for the treatment system to the distribution system shall not exceed 2,700. The max for April was 261. For May, the flow max was 406, and in June, 323, so well under. Under the wastewater treatment plant flows, during the second quarter, Red Rock wastewater treatment facility operated without interruption, as well as the water treatment side. I should have said that. Total effluent flow for the system in April was 16,928. May was 18,934. June was 19,336, with the year-to-date flow of 100,385. Our max capacity flow rate is 5,000 per day. The effluent flow max rate was 971 in April. May was 1,457, and the max flow was 1,348 in June, with a total of 100,385. For our compliance summary, all bacteriological and chemical laboratory sampling, as well as distribution chlorine residuals, were taken within the proper timelines as per the Ontario Reg 17003, and no adverse results were detected. All staff operating the systems are licensed to work at the required levels under 12804 of Ontario regulation. For the occupational health and safety portion, there were no health and safety related concerns or incidents reported during Q2. Inspections and communications with regulatory authority. The 2023-2024 MECP inspection was conducted January 10th of 2024. The inspection rating was a 96.98. Complaints and concerns. There were no community complaints or concerns throughout Q2 of 2024, and no alarms were call-outs were conducted in the Q2 of 2024, and work summaries were attached for your review at any convenient time. In closing, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to review the quarterly operation report for Q2. And if you have any questions or concerns at any time, feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to assist. Any questions or concerns?
Councillor, is there any questions? Mike at this time? No, Mike, there's no questions from council tonight. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Take care.
Is there a mover and seconder for motion to accept the water treatment and wastewater treatment second quarterly report from Aqua? Councillor, no. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, open session minutes of the last regular meeting. Sorry. Second presentation. For the night, we have the librarian, Nancy Carrier, and the Red Rock Public Library Board, President Anne Lockwood, here to present the library strat plan. Thank you for joining us. So just press the talk button. Oops.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us this evening. For anybody that does not know me, my name is Nancy Carrier. I'm the CEO and head librarian of the Red Rock Public Library. And I'm Anne Lockwood, and I'm the chairperson of Red Rock Public Library. We're here today to present the strategic plan for the library. And we decided as a board a little over a year ago that we needed to look at the direction the library was taking. And in doing that, we decided that the best thing for us to do was to look at a strategic plan. So we put together a steering committee, myself, Michael Smith, the council representative, Marilyn Young, Nancy Carrier, a member from the Ontario Library Service, Jesse Roberts, who without whom we would never have got this done. And also some additional support from some of the members of the library, Steph Capillotti, Mike Kirkfield, Ashley Davis, the CDO, and the Township of Red Rocks Public Strategic Plan. In doing so, with this, it took us over a year, but we worked hard on it, and we came up with a new mission statement for the Red Rock Public Library, which is the Red Rock Public Library represents the unique beauty of Red Rock through its resources, services, and people. The library is a safe, inclusive, and welcoming community hub where everyone can be inspired, engage, learn, and grow. And from there, we developed a vision statement. The Red Rock Public Library is dedicated to being the center of progress and innovation. We enrich our vibrant community with new, engaging, and flexible services, from digital resources to cultural programs that connect the needs and interests of residents and visitors. And from there, we look at our values. Our first value was IDEA, which stands for inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Community engagement was value number 2. User experience was value number 3, and lifelong learning was value number 4. Many of these came from some of the surveys that we received from the township, from the members of the township who responded. And finally, our priorities: community connections. We want to contribute to the quality of life in the locality, develop partnerships with other agencies. We want to provide customer service to improve access to library services, raise awareness of library offerings, and advance public service through innovation. And another priority was to innovate and inspire. Our goal is to diversify library programs and collections, provide library technology and infrastructure. And one of the comments that people made was the library is one of the free services available to all ages in the community. And from there, Nancy is going to continue with our presentation.
So we have worked on a social return of investment document. And for anyone that does not know what social return on investment is, the definition is up there on the screen, but it's basically providing a value, a dollar amount for something that we provide for free. Just because our services are for free does not mean that they are worth nothing. So libraries as a vital community institutions play a pivotal role in fostering social and economic well-being, leading to a substantial social return on investment. The social return on investment of libraries extends beyond their immediate users, as the benefits they generate ripple through the community, creating a more informed, engaged, and prosperous society. So how do we demonstrate the value of a library service that is offered at little or no charge? By using this Valuing Ontario Libraries Toolkit. The toolkit was created with funding from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Gaming, Nordic Institute, Algoma University, facilitated by the Ontario Library Service. The toolkit is an interactive spreadsheet using data and statistics compiled daily, monthly, and yearly for submission to the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Gaming annual survey of public libraries that is done every year. Using as benchmarks, though, the most recent census data and location of library in relation to larger urban centers. It's a large interactive spreadsheet that allows us to have a value according to where we are, to a larger locality such as Thunder Bay. The framework is represented by 7 key domains listed there. The data collected and recorded consists of statistics on library services, assistance, delivery, staffing capacity, programming types, sessions and attendance, collections, patronage, and circulation of materials. There's a lot of data. At the end of the day, after all those numbers are plugged in there, for every dollar that is invested into the library, the municipality, it generates a social return of investment of $4.58. That is the value of what we give back to the community for every dollar. Every item within the spreadsheet is given a monetary amount. For example, information and communication technology, requests for assistance with any kind of technology has an assigned value of $8.55. This was done through a lot of research done by Ontario Library Services in order to provide this toolkit. We're going on to the next one, education. That's the first domain. Public libraries support education in a variety of ways, from helping parents and guardians facilitate the intellectual and social growth of their children to facilitating universal access to multiple and varying forms of literacy and educational opportunities. That is the value, total of $20,000 that we give back. Culture, $16,000. Public libraries contribute to increasing cultural vitality through connecting or reconnecting us to the unique ways of life of diverse peoples, as well as the cultivation of a sense of a local identity and place. The next domain is inclusion and well-being. The value of that is about $21,000. Public libraries foster social inclusion and well-being by providing services with equitable access to critical resources, technology, and information. They provide opportunities for self-care, information to support healthy living, and connections to resources that foster a sense of belonging and security. They also assist in leveling the economic playing field, providing people of all incomes with access to costly resources, which are databases. Entertainment and leisure, $271,000 is the value. We have a lot of readers. Entertainment can provide significant cognitive and mental health benefits. Public libraries contribute to increasing opportunities for recreational reading and expanding horizons and social connections through programming and services that bring people together to learn and share experiences. And economic development, $120,000, that's the value. Local economic growth is advanced by many impacts of the public library, including employment and its multiplier effect, capital spending and grants from provincial and national funders and foundations that are pulled into the community by the library. Public library programs, resources, and one-on-one support also greatly contribute to helping residents obtain jobs, develop small business, and create local employment opportunities. Civic engagement. This is the volunteers that we have. Public libraries strengthen community bonds by building social capital and fostering relationships between individuals, families, and other groups. And finally, space. The space is very valuable. Public libraries provide a variety of spaces for community activities and connections, space for individuals to gather and organizations to meet, enriches lives, builds networks, and helps to craft a sense of belonging. For example, soccer registration always occurs in the library just because of the time of the year it is. We're more than happy to help out with that one. And then finally, libraries serve as a safe and welcoming space for people of all ages to connect, socialize, and access services by providing free or low-cost access to books, computers, and other resources. We empower individuals to contribute to economic growth by improving educational outcomes such as literacy and lifelong learning, increased access to information and technology, enhanced civic engagement, reduced social isolation, and actively participating in their communities. Do you have any questions about either our strategic plan and how it aligns and the social return on investment document?
Does anyone have any questions on the strategic plan? Councilor Mayor?
Yeah, is the document available to review the vote?
Yes, it
Right,
is.
is it? Okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind. Is it if I go to the library, can I just look at it?
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
perfect. All right, that's all.
Councillor Smith?
Mine is more of a statement, just saying, thanks for everything that you did and putting this together. And, you know, being a small town, we do have a lot of residents that don't have a means of of mobilization. So having you here and having the building here with all these resources is very valuable.
Any other statements or comments on their mission state or on their strategic plan? I think it's fabulous. We all know that the library is a hub for the community, and having free Wi-Fi and that internet access for a lot of the residents comes in pretty handy. So thank you that you continue to do that. Staff is wonderful, and you're doing a great job. And I think the board did a really good job on this document. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
No, you don't have to stay if you don't want to. So, okay, just letting you know. Okay, now the next one. The open session minutes of the last regular meeting, September 16th, are at items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the minutes? Seeing none, may I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the minutes at 5.1? Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, we have no resolutions from other municipalities. Okay. Okay, next item 6.2, information purposes only regarding the August 27th meeting regarding the Chamber of Commerce. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Okay, next item 6.3 for discussion purposes regarding St. Hilary School annual cross-country race. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Or Mark, if you can provide us what we did last year?
It was $250 donation to the school last year.
Okay. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve a donation of $250 to St. Hilary Catholic School for their annual cross-country race? Councillor Muir. Councillor No. All in favor? Motion's carried. I'm sure they'll be looking for volunteers, so if anybody is available that day, you can help out. Next item, 6.4, information purposes only from the Red Rock Public Library regarding Ontario Public Library Week. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Councillor Brand?
Just have a question. Do we ever make a donation to them? Some of the prizes and stuff?
For the library
For that week, do we, if they do it, they provide other draws and stuff. So do we give any kind of donation, or have we in the past?
I'm going to say no, but it's not, they haven't asked, but we do. I know we used to go and do the proclamation that day if any members of council can attend, and they have copy and an open house and all of that. But I think besides supporting them and sharing on social media and stuff like that, that's what our, no, they haven't asked for that. So. Okay, next item, 6.5, information purposes only regarding the September 10th meeting minutes from the Chamber of Commerce. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? I just want to say I'm a little intrigued on how they're running their finances. I read some of them, I'm not too sure how this is going to work, but anyways, that's what I'll be looking into. Okay, no remarks. Okay, 6.6, information purposes only regarding the September, oh, is that what I just read?
No, there's another
Oh,
one.
there's another one.
Yeah,
Yep, okay. September 24th meeting minutes from the Chamber of Commerce. Do any members of council have any remarks? Okay, seeing none. 6.7, information purposes only regarding the June 19th meeting minutes from the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Do any members of council have any remarks? Seeing none. 6.8, information purposes only regarding the July 18th meeting minutes from the DSAB. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? I think Councillor No has just attended one of his first meetings, so we will wait to see what comes of that. Oops. Okay, next item, 6.9, information purposes only regarding the June 15th meeting minutes from the Thunder Bay District Municipal League. Do any members of council have any remarks? Councillor Mir.
I believe the league is requesting that a brief be given going forward at the meetings. There was talk about that, so I think next meeting I can give everyone a brief from or Mayor Robinson as well from the last meeting we had. So and that's up. So I think that was kind of the request. So okay, but that's it. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay, next item 8.3 is a report on administrative activities. Do any members of council have questions of Mr. Piclamini? Councillor Smith.
I don't know if this is the right place. I know we already spoke, but my question is the hedges in front of the rec center. We spoke about those and voted that they'll be removed, I think over a year ago. I'm just curious if that's still going to happen.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Thanks for reaching out prior. Certainly, I will follow up on that. I do recall we had that discussion a while ago. We've changed personnel and people at that time, but I will certainly follow up on that. I believe the discussion was remove them based on snow removal. I believe there quite possibly was also discussion about a cleanup or a trim of them and leaving them there based on the fact that we establish a sidewalk again. So I can't remember exactly where we landed on that, but I think it was full removal. And I can get an answer to that. I don't have that exact answer for you tonight, but I'll get you an answer on that. If that's what council recalled on that, and I do remember those discussions. It was kind of like I said, in a bit of a transition time for us, and something that hasn't been done. But if that direction is to still look at removing those, then we can certainly look at that.
Yeah, I remember that our composition. That's why I kind of brought it up, is that we ended up saying to remove them. And I only ask now just because before the snow happens, get them out now so we can clear that walkway, because I know it is overgrown, and especially with us having a nice kind of renovated rec center, it'd be great to have it cleaned up in the front there too.
But and certainly I can look at that and take that previous direction and have them removed if that's the direction we'll get on that.
Thank you. I guess it's all going to depend on man hour and priorities, but that was the conversation. So whatever, if
Okay.
minimal can be done, at least
Yeah.
cleaning up the brush.
I'll see,
But
certainly see what I can do to get that moving for sure.
okay. Maybe if you just want to go over your discussions or your direction.
Yeah, certainly there's really not a lot. There was obviously, as you can see, the summary of activity there was a lot happening as well. As always, I mean, some of the direction discussion updates. Again, Rock Tech Lithium has committed to coming into the community on the 30th of October. So save that date. We're working on all that. I believe they said 6 o'clock was the desired time. So, but we'll get as soon as we can work on all those details, we'll get those out. But I believe it is 6 o'clock. Some meeting schedule changes coming up. Our next meeting, as discussed last meeting with council, will be on the 22nd of October, and the December. So that'll revert from the 21st to the 22nd, and December 2nd will go to the 3rd. So I'll go to just for note there as we get as we share our annual conferences. That annual conference, just for council's note, is coming up in January in Toronto. That's the annual Roma conference. Funding model, allocation this year, we received notice for 2025. So the township is up a bit. We received about 132,000 for OSIP last year. This year we're at 152, so an increase of about $20,000 in funding, which is good news. Ice season, there's a tentative start date moved up a bit this week based on some discussions around startup of the project, etc. So and some cost savings potentially. Potentially some cost savings that are there for us to tie in to a lot of the work that's being done currently in the project. What it has done is shifted a little bit of focus onto the arena to save money for the ice surface, and unfortunately a little bit away from the rest of the building. We're running a little bit behind in the construction phase. So what we're looking at is a potential startup of everything right around that time, including bowling, where we'll more than likely, we haven't fully confirmed this yet, but we may have to delay the league start by 1 week. And we may have to delay occasional use even further after that. Just till, I mean, it's a really good comparison would be similar to the wastewater plant. We've created a whole new level of technology with, so we're dealing with cleaning up and finishing up the project, literally. And then the staff training, etc., on the new system. So not that far off, but we may see a week or two delay in everything there getting going. And then the only other discussion I had, it was Councillor Smith wanted to bring up the or discuss quite possibly the RV discussion. So there's no further questions of me. I'll leave the floor to Councillor Smith.
Thank you. I know in the past, well, since I've been on council, what you guys have been doing, we've been improving our infrastructure, improving buildings, which are, costing money and not, it is generating money, but not a lot. I really want to see us start to do projects that will end up generating revenue for the township as well as jobs. And, I know we spoke about before, you guys had an RV plan done in the past, and we have all that unused space that could be used better for campgrounds to generate money. And so I would like to see that kind of brought higher up on our priority list, because I know right now it's sitting very low. So I would like us to have a discussion about bringing that up closer to, to something that may happen rather than may not.
Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Smith. There's been a lot of times we driving at the waterfront, we see like vehicles here already, right? So they're stopping and kind of staying here. So I think I'm not sure if we're collecting from that, but they kind of pull in here after hours. But I think if we advertised and push, I think we can definitely get these places filled up existing the way they are. I know next year's beer fest, we're going to be kind of looking at kind of ramping out, that RV plan. So for people to stay down here. So that'll be revenue for the town as well. But it's going to be highly suggested that people camp down here for that weekend. So we can get some spots put aside, or just, I don't think it'll cost us a lot to go there to get it started anyway, start making some revenue.
Well, I just want to say we all know what we've been dealing with the last year. So I think with all of these construction projects and all that stuff that have been almost completed and all the paperwork that needs to be done with that, I know the CDO will have more time to be spending on this. So I'm sure that discussion next time she comes to a meeting, we can have those, and then the direction can go from there. But Councilor Brand?
The previous RV report, is that now obsolete? Would we have to have that redone, or can us as council have it? I mean, I know there's a few of you who've had it, seen it, but can it be made available to the rest of us to take a look at?
I think it'd probably be best to have Ashley speak to that, only because I know they're only good for so many years, and I forget when this one was last completed. So, or maybe Mark has that information.
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of a couple of different things with it. I certainly would like direction from council on exactly what we're looking at, because if it is some kind of a smaller scale, then I think that's something we can discuss and move up on a list for sure. I think the reason why, I mean, when you look at the original plan and the dollars that go with that original plan, I couldn't sit here as your CAO and tell you that is something we should do right now. I mean, financially, for what we took on, since I guess I can speak to my time coming in 2021, I wouldn't recommend that we do anything of that large scale at this time. We just could not handle it. We've taken on a debenture for $1.4 million to handle the projects that we had on the go at the time. But if the direction of council was that we created, and I don't know how this looks, but we created some kind of a small kind of trial area, or better than trial area, I guess, some kind of a designated area that we could study that way. I think we could easily move that up. So some of the reason why it may not have moved up or down on a priority list is because the large scale project would not be recommended at this time for the township, and B, we have been busy, but we're tying up a lot of projects that we had on the go. So I think it's a great time to have the discussion. Thanks for bringing it up. I mean, we're going into winter. We could look at something. There is a lot of space. If that's the direction, then maybe we look at 5 spaces or something as a start, and maybe more of an advertising piece, and maybe more of a designated area. And I think we start that way. But again, I'll take the direction of council.
Councilor Muir?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. You've got a lot of spots where we could literally just, stake it off and say, hey, we've got 5 spots in this area. It won't cost any money, just advertising, put a fire pit out there, and in the morning, clean the fire pit. So yeah, I might add a little bit of extra work, but summer students maybe around. But yeah, I wasn't thinking we start clearing or bulldozing. We've got spots where they can stay right now. Just monitoring it, maybe advertising it. Yeah.
Councilor Smith?
Yeah, my initial thought was not big like the original plan. I was thinking smaller scale, but again, more of a, even with a smaller scale of plan, so that it is able to, if it does work out, it looks good, that we able to grow, properly, and not just take 5 spots we already have, but more, like you said, map it out, looks what looks good. We'll put these spots here, and then it'll allow us to grow as, depending on what the feasibility of it is. But my initial thought was more of, you know, if we did 5-6 spots, it would actually be 5-6 spots that had service, not maybe all service, but at least power or something. That's what my initial thought was, because that's what's going to drive people to come and stay for more than 1 or 2 nights if you have power. You could live without, you know, you have a pump out already, don't need to do that, but just, you know, have a few spots with power. That will get people to come and stay for a little bit longer. I'm not thinking, you know, huge, but, you know, let's, like you said, start small, but start small smart, where we are able to grow.
Yeah, and I think power's something that is something most people would want. The cost of doing that, I don't know what that would be, but I would imagine it's significant at that point. I think as we proceed into November, what we want to bring back as administration is a pre-2025 budget kind of forecast, right? So where we look at where we are, because I mean, it may change the discussion totally. I mean, we're looking at a bridge, obviously, that is first and foremost, right? We have some long overdue repairs in our water plant that we're focusing on. So I think you got to I think it's a great idea. It's something we can look at, but I think it might be something we want to tie into an overall bigger picture, because if it say cost you $100,000 to put power in, which I'll give you an example. We have an order on our water plant right now to upgrade some of the electrical, and we just put a tender out, and we're expecting that to come in around 50 or 60,000. And when it comes back, this is an order again by that we have to do from the Electrical Safety Authority. When it comes back, what we're going to see, what you would see as a person, is the outlet on the outside of the building as opposed to the inside of the building, and some conduit on some open wire, and that's costing 60,000. So again, it's a challenge, but I think it can be done. I think small scale, if that's the way council wants to go, is definitely the way to go. And we can bring that back as part of a study. If we get into looking at studies on it, they then cost you money and time as well. So it's a tough challenge, and I realize that you know, there's thoughts and ideas, but realistically, sometimes we have to say no, because it's just too hard in a small community like Red Rock to take every project on when you try to deem what is essential and what isn't. And in my opinion, at this moment, the bridge is first and foremost, and in my opinion, the water infrastructure. I mean, we deem those to be essential services, and that's where we're kind of focusing a lot of our money on right now. Some jobs that really are long overdue in those areas.
Councilor Brand?
I agree with Mr. Biglamini. I also think one of the things that we should be considering also are our streets and sidewalks. I think that needs to be a priority too, perhaps in our budget. But I know several of you have probably seen how the Red Rock Folk Festival has a fabulous turnout for campers and tents. So I wondered if even maybe if there's some way we can just fix up a few of the sites, so make it look a little more appealing, and maybe, as Councillor Muir said, put a couple fire pits in, maybe just start small scale like that. Things maybe our own public works guys could potentially work on, or our summer students. Just start small scale, and then I know I can't remember if it was Councillor Muir or Councillor Smith who said that sometimes there's people there after hours and maybe we're not collecting money. I know in Sibley, at some of the places where you go hiking, they have these little lock boxes where it's an honor system. So we might want to consider putting something like that on the outside of our marina building. And so if people come, they could contribute to staying there.
Yeah, and we just actually discussed that exact system on Friday, the CDO and myself, of some kind of a honor system. A lot of the provincial parks use it as well. So it's something we're looking at going to as well. And again, we'll bring back some kind of a small scale look at that park, and that's not a problem. We have time to do that through the year, and some, maybe it's 5 designated areas we can start with or something like that.
Any other questions or comments on Mark's report? Councillor No?
Yeah, I think I would be much more comfortable with that as well. I think unless we are, foreseeing that it's going to be a large revenue generating type of thing, I think what I'm hearing out in the public is there are some that are struggling to put food on the table on fixed incomes and that sort of thing. And I think if we're able to kind of nip and tuck at some of those things and start small scale where that doesn't involve a large investment, that might be maybe the best way to go, at least for large project that have come before.
I just have one comment on your summary, the emergency management exercise. So are we now compliant for the year, the CMC?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we did sit with myself and all the members of our immediate committee sat in, and we are compliant. So we've reported compliancy. I'm actually at Thursday. I'm in Thunder Bay for the annual regional meeting. But yes, at this point, the Township of Red Rock is compliant for its emergency management exercise for 2024.
Congratulations on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on his report? Okay, seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor No. Oops. All in favor? Motion's carried. Next item 8.2, a report on the municipal leasing policy. Do members of council have any questions on this? Councillor Muir.
Just a quick brief on it, Mark.
Yeah, certainly, as discussed and as directed by council, we were to bring back a draft policy. So that's what we did. So we focused as directed on revenue leases within the municipality. And so what you see in front of you is a policy that states exactly how we would handle those situations as they arise in our revenue leases. So it's, I think, very clearly drawn out for council. It sets a process in place, and I think it speaks to transparency. It speaks to the best value that this municipality can get from a lease. And it also speaks to the fact that, in some stages that ultimately, there is times you're still going to see unsolicited or that discretion of council where you are the decision makers, but this puts a policy in place for us to follow. And as an administration, that's what we would do. So if you had, for example, one of our revenue lease properties become available, then we would follow this process. We would list that for, I believe it said, a couple of weeks and go that route and go from there.
Councillor Brand.
Just 2 quick questions regarding you've got under rent increases. Is there a standard for increasing per year?
Not in a commercial lease. So a commercial lease is open. We usually will keep that respectfully so that we're not, we don't ever take the approach of pricing somebody out of a market, but it is open in a municipal, or sorry, in a commercial lease, different than a residential lease or rent, where you can only go up as per required. Yeah.
And then just my other question was on the insurance. So I'm taking it that we're talking about places like the cafe and the rec center and snack bar. Is that correct? Or is this like an overall anything?
This is a revenue lease. So yeah, I mean, without identifying properties, it would be leasing of somebody who's paying us rent. So yeah.
So that person then, if I'm understanding correctly, they have to carry their own rent, or sorry, their own insurance.
Correct.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
We still have insurance on the facilities, but there is a clause that that all of our renters provide us, or our lessees provide us copies of their insurance, as well as inspections, say from the suppression systems or whatever is done at that time.
Councillor Smith?
I like how it's written. It's good. I just have one question. In this lease policy procedure, should you not also have a clause for in there for if a like anybody, if they're already in there, they have like the right for first refusal if they want to extend their lease. Should you have a clause in there speaking to that to you can after whatever.
So it's why we
lease
it's why we worded it as new agreements, and it's why we left it as a draft as well. So I mean, we could add another line under policy scope that states that clearly defines it as, if you're renewing a lease, for example. But it's why we called it this policy applies to all new agreements for occupancy. So I mean, existing, because we sign normally 1-year leases, unless it doesn't match up on the calendar, and sometimes we might go 1 year and 3 months or whatever to bring it back to the December 31st. But yeah, we can easily add that. But that's what it's written to mean is a new lease. So but certainly could add that and bring it back. This is a draft document, so we can bring it. We could, if that's how we want to add that. I mean, I guess we could word that as to say if I mean, you're currently in a lease, it automatically gets the first right of refusal on that re-signing to that person, and then bring it back for approval with that change. We probably add it right there at the scope.
I just didn't know if that was something that should be in there or not. I'm happy with how it is as well. So.
And I think from a day-to-day operational part, from the administration, that's how we understand it, and that's how we would manage it. But again, we're not always the same people at the same time in the same room. So I got no trouble if council wants that added in there. That, and it simply could be worded in that manner, right? That we could add that in.
Does anyone want to comment on that? I'm actually, I like the document the way it is. At this time, I'm not sure how I feel about existing or current. I don't know how to say it properly without identifying anybody or any of the agreements that we have right now.
And I think we wrote it this way based on the discussion we had at council last time. I think I had asked, and I forget who maybe responded to the question, but I had asked the question of, so this will be for new leases, right? And so that's why we wrote it that way. And that's how it is. That's how it is in there. So I mean, I'm comfortable with it, and if council is, we'll bring it back in this document for approval next meeting. And if there's any other discussion on it, that's why it's a draft copy, and why we don't put it in front of you and then say, let's pass it. We'll bring it back next meeting. But if I don't hear anything else, we'll bring it back exactly as this. It covers new leases. So I mean, somebody leaves, boom, we're into a new lease.
Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, moving to unfinished business. Is there any updates on any of these items, EMS consult?
I don't have any. I mean, we're working on obviously 11.1 and 11.2 is kind of hurry up and wait on both. There's not a lot of talk on EMS consolidation. We're working closely with the M&R on the landfill issue, and the other two are carryover items that we just keep carrying over for council purposes for next year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we need to go back into closed session. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to go into closed session under the authorities as printed at the beginning of the agenda at 7:51? Councillor No. Councillor Muir. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, rising from closed session, council discussed employee negotiations, matters relating to an identifiable individual, and legal matters. Okay, so next item on the agenda is bylaw to confirm proceedings in council. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next scheduled meeting is October 22nd, time being, that's it, 8:56. The meeting is adjourned. Have a great week.